So instead of doing Highway 15 all the way out to where I'm going, I decided to take side roads, which I'm starting to feel a little lonely because there is nothing out here. And I've got a full tank of gas. The heat's doing okay on the Jeep. It does climb up there a bit when I've got the AC on, but it is desolate out here. Look at all these Joshua trees. Of the Mojave Desert is Kelso. This is the train depot built by the Union Pacific, and it was apparently a boom town during World War II, but was created to help trains get through this area with pusher trains. So there used to be like a turntable around here and a locomotive house and things like that, but that's all gone. The place fell apart kind of after World War II. But a lot of soldiers and a lot of equipment moved through this area, and now it's just a national park visitor center. But very cool. Just driving through the area and just watched a video on the Mojave Desert. It actually looks pretty cool. If I had more time, I'd actually check out a few of the things. But you know, this is the type of stuff where I see it on a map, and I think I'm just going to push through, and then I come across something like this and then watch a video and realize there's a lot more to see than just a green spot on a map. But I'm glad I stopped, took a look at it, and there's some pretty cool dunes to see. There's a lava tube and all sorts of cool stuff in the Mojave Preserve. But I will keep that on my list of maybe things to do on my way back. That is the Kelso Jail. This board is about it being a boomtown in World War II. There's the old post office. That's pretty much it. And you got bathrooms and some water. But I actually drove right through it, decided to turn around and check it out, and I'm glad I did. I've done white sands in New Mexico. That was awesome, and it actually wasn't even hot sand. I don't know if that is or not, but yeah, I'm not going to go out in 100+ degree weather and walk around on sand dunes. So this is, according to the sign back there, near the heart of the Mojave Desert, and the landscape changes quite a bit. It was flat for a while. There is the densest population of Joshua trees in this area, and that's what I just showed already on some previous footage, and that was quite a few miles back. And then, you know, there was some sandstone type formations back there, the dunes, and then ahead of us are those mountains, and then way out there, I don't know how well you can see it, it is just all different colors of tan. So you got desert and then mountain ranges I made it to my buddy's place in the Palm Springs area. Quite a bit different scenery than what I've been shown in my videos for the past couple of weeks, absolutely. So he actually has a pool and spa in the backyard. That pool I will probably be jumping into later on today. And he's working on putting sod around the whole thing. I'll help him out if he gets to that point while I'm still here. But I think he's got a lot of work to do before he gets there. So anyway, it is just about 8 o'clock, I think, and it is already getting stinking hot. He said that 2 days ago it was 117 here. When I got here yesterday it was 107. The Jeep kind of struggled with the heat and the AC going uphill on my way here. It was just all day through the desert, through the Mojave Desert. Going uphill, I had to turn off my AC or else it would start to overheat. If the AC wasn't on, I could have it revved up going uphill and it'd be fine, it wouldn't overheat. But as soon as that compressor kicked in, I would be in trouble. I'd have to pull over a couple of times. That's the first time it's happened consistently like that. So I'd say like 3 times I had to pull over and do that. But while I'm here, I'm actually going to flush out the radiator fluid and go ahead and do that and just get that out of the way. Everything else should be fine. It's just it's too much for my Jeep being that hot. The rest of the year it's fine. It's just when it's freaking 110 degrees outside that it does that. So I am going to work on my leaf springs, and I'll show you just about everything I need to do over the next few days while I'm here. Alright, so there is the Jeep. The first thing I need to do is wash this thing off. It is so dusty, it's driving me insane. And I don't want to be crawling around in it and having all the dust and dirt fall into my face and my eyes and everything. So I am going to wash it off. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to take all this stuff off up top so that it can fit in the garage. That is awesome about being here, is it is shaded in the garage. He has a jack and jack stands, and it's going to make the job a lot easier. So what I'm going to tackle first is the leaf springs, which are sitting inside, and then after that I'll do everything else as I can. But I'm going to change out the oil, change out some of the transmission fluid. I'm going to check my gear oil. I'm even thinking about changing out the transfer case oil. All that I'm going to do in the next couple of days if I can get around to it. Absolutely the oil and adding more transmission fluid. Radiator, actually I am doing a radiator flush because of the overheating issue. It'll just help. It's not going to probably solve the complete problem, but my fan is running fine. I did check that when it would overheat. Is the fan running? Yeah, it's running. Like I said, the only time that happens is when it is ridiculously hot outside and I'm heading uphill at a high RPM. If I turn off the AC, fine. If the AC's on, it overheats, but it does warm me. It doesn't shoot straight up. It doesn't boil over or anything like that. But as soon as I see that warning, I pull over to the side of the road and let it idle, and after like 60 seconds, the thing pops back down to where it needs to be, and I'm right back on the road. But so the radiator fluid's going to get done too. So the top things, the absolute things, are leaf springs, radiator fluid, and oil change, and then the rest as I can fit it in. So that is the plan. But first things first, I got to wash this thing off. I am pretty sure that my buddy would freak out if he knew what was coming off of this thing. Let's see if I can make it that I have 2 friends that get HOA letters. So there they are, the new leaf springs, and as you can see, the ones I have on are almost flat. So that is going to be really interesting. when I try to get this thing out, because I had very little clearance between my roof rack and this garage door. So I might have to either deflate the tires and hope that that helps, or the roof rack might actually have to come off to get this thing out. We'll see how it goes, but I'll measure. I mean, when I take those off and they spring back, we'll see how much of a difference there is, but this is really going to lift up the Jeep, I think. So that's going to be a good thing. So I am going to get out all my tools. Luckily my buddy has a bunch of tools too, and hopefully get one of these done before it gets too ridiculously hot that I got to stop. So we'll see how it goes. All right, one leaf spring is out. There is the difference, and I'm pretty sure the Rubicons won't flatten out as much as these did, but you can see they sprung back up, and I don't know, there's about 3/4 of an inch difference between the two. So it wasn't fun, but it wasn't hard. I didn't film this because it's hot as hell and I'm sweating like crazy. But I watched Matt from Bleep and Jeep and followed his instructions. The good thing is I've already got that breaker bar for my tires, so that helped with getting that bolt off. I sprayed everything with Deep Creek 2 days ago, and then yesterday, and then again today. That helped. The problem that I had is the spring did not want to release from that, so when I dropped the jack, slowly even, the whole thing was popping, and it just didn't sound good. But I think it was just the stress of the jack being up underneath the frame, and also pulling on the bolts and the rear shackle. But that bolt came out really easy. I just had to secure the other side with a ratchet, and so that it wouldn't spin on me. This one here was a pain in the ass because I had to do quarter turns because it's not a ratcheting socket, so, or breaker bar. So because of that, I had to slowly take that bolt out. But luckily I didn't have to get creative with like a 6-foot pole or a jack or anything like that, like Matt from Bleep and Jeep had to do with when he did his. So it is out. It's going to be fun getting everything back in. Once I get this side in, I'm going to take a break for a while. But so far so good. I think there is no tension on these lines. I almost did drop this too far without thinking. That would have been a disaster, but these lines actually have flex in them, so they're not pulling real hard. And just be careful if you ever do that. So, and that bolt came out super easy. The top plate bolts came off super easy. So it's just long and tedious trying to get these bolts out because they're not free moving. They're rusted in there pretty good. But thank God these aren't original leaf springs, or that could have been a problem. So hopefully the other side goes better than this side, but I'll take what I got for taking this off. But getting this back in, I think, is going to be a little bit of a challenge on my own, but we'll see. So that is one new leaf spring on. It took a little bit of maneuvering to get the pin to settle into that plate underneath there, but after loosening the other side, I got it to go. So they're tightened down pretty good, but they're not torqued yet, just because I might have to loosen them up to do this side. But as with any job I ever do, it is always something, and usually towards the end of when I think I'm in the clear. And that bolt right there backs out into my freaking exhaust pipe. It's just one of those things that is just super annoying that you got to do it just to accomplish a small task. So the noise that you were hearing was actually the street sweeper. I kind of got lucky because I just cleaned off the Jeep and there was piles of mud here at the curb, and the street sweeper just took it all away. I thought I was gonna have to come out here with a shovel and clean that up, but the street sweeper just took care of it for me, so that worked out pretty well. So I guess one annoying thing, but I would have rather cleaned up mud than have to do with this, but it was a good trade-off. So that's my next task. I imagine that since that side was annoying to line up, that the little nub, whatever, underneath here is also going to be annoying to line up. I think I'm gonna have to re-loosen those. I shouldn't have tightened them down as much as I should have, but too late now. So I hope at least halfway there. That came out super easy. That came out almost super easy if it wasn't for the clearance issue. So actually I got lucky. I saw that there were 3 star bolts up top here, and when I went to loosen them, because I actually brought my star set with me, those are them there, and they twisted right out. So the exhaust pipe is able to drop out of the way. I didn't have to mess with this rusty U-bolt mess there. And so now I can just easily put that back up with the star bolt. So thank goodness I brought those, because that saved me a lot of time. All right, that is leaf spring number 2 out. Cleaned up all the bolts, sprayed them down, and unfortunately I don't have any anti-seize to put on these bolts to put back in. So I cleaned them up the best I can, and that'll just have to do. So one more to go, and hopefully I didn't screw anything up in the process.